So I wanted to go over squatting, and basically how your knee is affected by squatting. I often do a lot of research on YouTube videos and see what they're talking about, only to realize that they're really not telling anybody anything pertaining to safety. So I'm just real quick. What is your knee? Your knee is a hinge. A hinge opens and closes. A hinge on a door never moves. Your meniscus regulates the pressure between your femur and tibia. Therefore, if the first movement you make with any weight, and I'll just throw 225 out there, if you squat into your knees with 225, slowly but surely your knee is going to degenerate. And then over time, it tears, it aches. You could suffer arthritis and definitely can fall into the death trap of 720 plus thousand people who had knee surgeries just last year. 330 plus thousand hips replaced. Why? Because if your knee's bad, normally hips are going to go. If your hips go, then you're going to have to suffer or potentially get a hip replacement as well. So take a look at the, I don't know if you can see it, let me see here, at the white part in this image. The white represents a rubber band. Those rubber bands snap when they're strained or stretched in a way that they do not move or function. Therefore, again, if the first movement you make when squatting is with those rubber bands and not the red that you saw, it's only a matter of time before something tears. Again, another image where you can see the white and the red. A lot of people think that knee sleeves are the solution. Unfortunately, knee sleeves are not the solution. You can see the white. And what that white also represents is no blood cells. What that means is there's nothing to rebuild. What that means is people put on knee sleeves trying to protect their knees, or as they say, keep their knees warm. Unfortunately, you can't warm up your knees. You can only warm up your muscles. Your knees most of the time don't sweat. You sweat from muscles. You stretch and grow your muscles. You cannot grow your knees, period. You can't grow your knees. So my questions often when I go into teaching people about how not to use their knees when squatting is, you can't grow your knees. They say, no. Okay, then why would you use them? For those that want to optimize and get bigger legs, if you are using your joint versus your muscles aren't being maximized in terms of, in the sense that they need to be used and strained, stressed more so, to get the best results. So a lot of times the minute people come to me and we take the joint out of the movement and we put more emphasis on the muscle, great things happen. So one of the things that I was researching today is, I just typed in squat. First thing that came up was a bodybuilding.com video, and million plus views, all good and dandy. Unfortunately, the first thing that moves is this guy's knees and his back. Guys, if you had 300 pounds on your back, 100 pounds on your back, how long could you lean forward with 100 pounds on your back? I'd imagine not too long. So if the first movement you make when squatting is with your back, next you're going to move your knees. Back and knees are a billion-dollar industry for a reason, and those who exercise are contributing to it day in and day out. So you don't want to use your back and you don't want to use your knees, despite it being called a back squat. And believe me, it is exactly just that when doing it improperly. It's a back and knee squat. A lot of people put on back braces or back belts. The belt to help stabilize the backs and the back and the core, so you can get more out of your squat. The problem is your hips protect your internal organs and your lower back. So the minute you lean forward and take your back away from your hips, you put yourself in a position to suffer an injury. We've all heard a story, read a story, or know a story, and if not, now you know a story where people have been over and picked up something less than 25 pounds and thrown their back out. And it's because, again, the minute you take your back away from your hips, you put it at risk for injury. Or slowly but surely over a course of time, it degenerates. So all that could be prevented by doing a true squat. A true squat keeps the back safe, keeps the knees safe, preserves and improves not only just overall quality of life, but any type of gains one seeks, such as females when it comes to their butt, and guys when it comes to quads, legs, and whatever else. You can't grow your knees, and you need your back for as long as possible. Knee sleeves are not the solution, and it all comes back to education. What do you know about your body? So I'm going to show you what, people say, well, what is knee movement? I'm going to put in perspective what this looks like. Let me see here.
You want to start by driving your hips back.
He says drive your hips back, but his knees, as you see, they're going forward, and you see his back. So now he's got to squat out of his back and his knees just so he can get that bar back up. You don't want to squat with your back and your knees. You can grow your back, lower back. You can strengthen it, tighten it up, but you still don't want to compromise your back when doing a squat. This is the worst way possible to do a squat. This is the unsafest way to do a squat. You see those knees moving backwards? That's an exact wrong way to do a squat. Again, your ligaments and tendons have very specific functionalities. We all have seen a sports game when an athlete's knee cuts left or goes right. We all get really, oh God, his knee turned out. We get pretty nervous because, again, the knee doesn't do that. So it's imperative when doing squats, lunges, and various other exercises that you don't use the very things that can be harmed, hurt, or prohibit progression, meaning stop you from moving. If it can create it, if an injury can be created and sit you down for months, you don't want to do that, especially repeating it over and over again. So let's take a look at what no knee movement looks like. There's no way to really make this one bigger because this has been posted on Instagram. So I'll try to bring the camera a little bit closer. The knee's not the first thing to move, and it's barely moving on the way up. This is a part of the process in learning how to squat properly. You need a point of reference to help prevent you from using both your back and your knees. And it's always good if you can find a softbox. Not everybody's going to have a lot of control. So you see a little bit of bouncing, rolling forward in a sense, and that's just to get the motion down once you have some type of control. Or not control, but understanding of what a squat should or shouldn't look like. So again, just wanted to put in perspective, have a light conversation about knee movement, squatting, what's out there, what needs to change. If you have questions, please comment, reach out. Info at ThinkFit365. We've seen that there's an educational gap. We're trying to close it. We believe we can unify the whole market ergonomically, simply meaning nobody's body moves any different. Nobody's knees bend back. Well, some people's knees bend back, but when they do, normally they snap. Your back, knees, shoulders, elbows, objectively, all of ours work the same. Injuries are created. Accidents happen. Since injuries are created, they can be prevented. That's all for now.